Hello friends, do you love tea and natural wellness products as much as I do? I've partnered with Positively Tea and Positively Botanicals, and I can honestly say I drink their organic loose leaf tea almost every day, and I love it. From organic teas to natural remedies, they offer high-quality products that support a healthy, mindful lifestyle. When you shop through my affiliate link, you not only discover amazing products for yourself, but you also help support the podcast. Visit the link in the show notes to explore their selections today. And for you coffee lovers, they have you covered as well. Treat yourself, support the show, and keep connecting with the natural world. Hello friends, and welcome back to The Nature Wanderer. I am so glad you're joining me today as we wander someplace very special. We're going to a land wrapped in snow, sprinkled with stories, and home to some of the toughest wildlife on Earth. Since this episode is being released on the magical holiday of Christmas, I thought I would talk a little bit about Santa's home. So today we're headed north, way north, but not all the way to the North Pole. Instead, we're stopping in Lapland, which is the northernmost region of Scandinavia, where Finland, Sweden, Norway, and part of Russia meet. Why Lapland, you may ask? Well, while the North Pole has captured our imaginations as Santa's magical base of operations, the truth is, real nature, actual wildlife, and even Santa's official village are not at the North Pole at all. The geographic North Pole is just drifting sea ice. There's no vegetation, no permanent wildlife, no people, but Lapland? Yeah, that's where Santa actually has a home you can visit. Where reindeer really live, where northern lights glow overhead, and where wildlife has spent thousands of years adapting to the cold. So today, we're exploring Santa's real home, Finnish Lapland, and diving into how animals survive some of the most extreme conditions on the planet. We'll meet Arctic foxes, maybe some snowy owls, reindeer, of course, wolverines, and much more. Are you ready to wander north? Well, let's head up there. Lapland stretches across the top of Europe, above the Arctic Circle. It's a place where winters are not for the faint of heart. Matter of fact, in midwinter, you get 24 hours of darkness. Temperatures routinely drop to, about negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit. And you get snow for more than half the year. And you have strong winds that sweep across open tundra. Doesn't sound like a great place to live to me. Yeah, sounds very cold and very hard climate. But despite these harsh conditions, Lapland is actually full of life. You've got boreal forests there, open fells, frozen rivers, and of course you have vast stretches of tundra too. It is home to the Sámi people, the only indigenous culture in the European Union. Known for their deep connection with reindeer herding, yes, you did hear me right, reindeer herding, which is a cultural tradition thousands of years old for these people. And of course, Lapland is home to Santa Claus Village. You can actually Google that on YouTube. Go to YouTube, put in Santa Claus Village live view, and you can actually see Santa's village 24 hours a day. Anyhow, yeah, it is home to Santa Claus's village. Right outside, and I'll probably get the pronunciation of this wrong, Rovaniemi, Finland. an official tourist destination recognized internationally, as a matter of fact. So, when we talk about Santa's home, we're talking about a real place where actual wildlife survives in conditions that most humans can barely tolerate. So let's pause a moment and clear up a big question. Why are we talking about Lapland instead of the North Pole? All the movies we see, especially this time of year, are always showing the North Pole. That's where Santa has his workshop. Some show it hidden, others show all these little houses up above on the snow, all where the elves live. So why aren't we talking about the North Pole? Well, I did briefly mention it earlier. The North Pole is basically a floating sheet of ice. There's no trees, no soil, no permanent wildlife there. And there's no reindeer. Yeah, and of course, there's definitely no cute log cabins for the elves to live in. In fact, the only large animal that regularly visits the sea ice is the polar bear. And even they aren't residents. They just happen along every once in a while. Lapland, on the other hand, has everything Santa would need. He has real forests to get wood to build all the toys. Reindeer herds to lead his sleigh. There's plenty of wildlife there. There's people also, villages. And year-round land, not ice that melts and reforms every year like the North Pole. So from a naturalist point of view, the North Pole makes for a great myth, but Lapland is where the real magic and real wildlife lives. Now let's wander into the tundra and meet some of the animals who call Santa's home their own. We'll start with the most famous animal of them all up there, the reindeer. The reindeer in Lapland are semi-domesticated. That's right, they're semi-domesticated, they're not all wild. The Sámi people herd them, but the animals roam freely across the landscape for much of the year. They're not penned, and they follow natural migratory patterns. So it's almost like they are wild, but they're herded by the Sámi people. So that's why we say they're semi-domesticated. They're kind of like domesticated and wild at the same time. There are some wild reindeer too, especially in Norway. But in Finland and Sweden, the tradition of herding has shaped the species in those countries for centuries. So these reindeer, Santa's reindeer, they are herded, they're kept by the people. They are master survivalists. They have to be up in those harsh conditions. Yeah, they actually have several different adaptations that help them to survive in those harsh climates. First of all, their noses contain what we call nasal heat exchangers. What this is basically the nasal heat exchangers warm the freezing air before it reaches the lungs, and it captures heat on exhalation. So the cold air coming in gets warmed up, and as it's going out, that warm air is going out, it can be captured in these nasal heat exchangers. So it essentially reduces any heat loss. This allows the reindeer to keep much of their body heat within. Now they also have hooves that are adapted. The hooves actually change with the seasons. Yeah, they go through a change in them. During the summer, for instance, they become very soft and spongy. That's for traction on wet ground. I know you're thinking, it's the Arctic. It's frozen all the time. Well, actually, this region of the Arctic is not frozen throughout the entire year. The snow does melt in the summer, and it leaves the ground rather moist. So they need these spongy hooves and soft hooves for traction on that wet ground. And then in the winter, the hooves actually shrink and harden, exposing a sharp rim on the hoof that cuts into the ice. This allows them to have better traction on ice. So soft traction, soft hooves for traction in the wet ground during the summer, and hard, sharp hooves, very sharp, that cut into the ice to allow traction in the wintertime. The reindeer also survive the harsh cold environment because of their hollow hair, which acts as insulation. Every hair on a reindeer is a tiny straw filled with air, providing incredible warmth and even buoyancy in the water. I always tell people when I go to the zoo in the summertime and I see the polar bears, same thing, they have hollow hair. The air acts as insulation. A layer of air is insulation. So their hair is hollow, and the polar bears always look moldy to me. And the reason is because, well, water's moisture is getting into the straw, and as it heats in the sun, it gets moldy. So, yeah, that's why it's green. The polar bear look kind of green in the summertime. And it's the same thing with reindeer. Okay, they have those straw-like hairs. Now, reindeer are also the only deer species where both males and females grow antlers. That's right, both male and female have antlers. Females usually keep their antlers all winter so that they can defend their feeding areas, their feeding grounds. Many of Santa's team, Dasher, Dancer, Donder, Vixen, Comet, they sound like male names, but they're more than likely females. The males have usually lost their antlers by Christmas. The females keep them much longer. So if anyone tells you that Santa's reindeer are all males, no, they're probably all females. Another interesting adaptation of the reindeer is their UV vision. Yeah, reindeer can actually see ultraviolet light, which you may wonder, how does that make it advantageous to them? Well, this actually helps them to detect lichens underneath the snow. The lichens actually will glow in the ultraviolet, something that we can't see. Our eyes are not adapted to it, but reindeer eyes, they are adapted to it. So they can detect the lichen underneath the snow, which, by the way, is their most important winter food source. So it's good to know where it is, good to see in the UV. In winter, reindeer survive on reindeer moss, which is a type of lichen, fungi, birch shoots, so birch tree shoots, dwarf shrubs. All of these things are major food source for them in the winter time. They actually will dig craters in the snow with their hooves to reach this food. Remember, they have very sharp pointed hooves and they can dig down through the hard snow. And they'll dig down to reach the food. It's a behavior that's called cratering. Now, in the summer, huge clouds of mosquitoes can drive the reindeer out of their normal feeding grounds and into open, windy areas, or even the snow patches that still remain. So the mosquitoes get pretty bad, and you're thinking, this is the Arctic? Yeah, it does get warm in the summer. Not for very long, but it does. And they do get mosquitoes up there when it gets warm. So I think that's enough about reindeer. Let's talk about some of the other animals that call Santa's home their home as well. And one of my favorite, another resident of Santa's home, is the Arctic fox, which is one of Lapland's most iconic predators. Now, some of the adaptations that allow the Arctic fox to survive in Lapland include seasonal camouflage. In the wintertime, they are white in color so that they blend in with the snow, hiding them from eagles up above who would come down and get them. And they're also hiding from their food. It's hard for a prey animal to see them if they are blending in with the snow. And in the summertime, they actually change their color to kind of a brownish gray color. It almost, I don't know, in my opinion, I've seen pictures of them and they almost look kind of a bluish color in the summertime. So white in the winter, brown-gray in the summer. The Arctic fox has a compact body and tiny ears. All of this reduces heat loss. Large ears actually will contribute to heat loss. So that's why these guys are great at reducing heat loss, because of the compact body and those tiny little ears. The fur on their feet, on the bottom of their feet, their foot pads, there's actually a lot of fur on them. It's almost like natural snowshoes. It helps them to walk through the snow better without sinking down deep. If your feet are sinking deep down into the snow, you tire very easily. It's also harder to run, especially if you're chasing prey, dinner. So these guys have basically it's fur-covered foot pads. That allows them to move better in the snow. And the Arctic fox has incredible hearing. They can hear lemmings, which are their favorite food source, tunneling under the snow. They leap and dive headfirst through the snow crust after these lemmings. And it's all because of their great hearing. They can pinpoint where those lemmings are. Now in Lapland, the populations follow the lemming cycles. So when lemming numbers are really high, there's a lemming boom, fox litters grow. When lemmings crash, when the numbers are low, fox numbers decline. So a lot of studies have shown that the Arctic fox population will actually follow the population of the lemmings. Now another animal that likes to call Lapland their home and has adapted for it is one of the toughest residents up there, the wolverine. They're very muscular, solitary, snowbound scavengers and hunters. Very fierce, ferocious animals. But they are also scavengers. Of course, so is the Arctic fox. Scavenger is an animal who, you can call them opportunists. They will find dead animals carrion, and they will scavenge off of it. They don't need to kill it. It doesn't have to be that fresh. So they are a scavenger, but they're also built for hunting. Now, the adaptations of the wolverine, they have huge paws. Just like with the Arctic fox, they use these big paws like snowshoes. It allows them to stay up on the surface of the snow, allowing them to get their prey much easier. They also have incredible endurance. They can run for miles through deep snow easily without getting tired. They have very strong jaws. The jaws are so strong, it actually allows them to crush frozen bones to get at the marrow for some nutrients if they need to. They have adapted to build snow dens in order to birth their kits. This keeps the family out of the frigid temperatures until the young are old enough to tolerate the harsh climate. Now, wolverines rely heavily on reindeer carcasses. They're often scavenging what wolves or natural winter mortality leaves behind. So the reindeer carcasses are what the wolverines are depending on primarily. And of course, if we're talking Santa's home, we cannot forget the snowy owl. So let's talk a little bit about the iconic snowy owl. This legendary Arctic bird, it occasionally settles in Lapland, especially in years where a large lemming population occurs. They depend a lot on the lemmings also. During years of low populations of lemmings, the snowy owl will winter a little bit further south. And these are the years that we usually get to see them in more human-populated areas. So some of the adaptations that allows the snowy owl to be in these frigid, cold, harsh conditions, they do have silent flight. The way their feathers are fringed on the end allows them to fly quietly so that they can sneak up on their prey. They also have feathered legs and toes, which does the same thing. It buffers the wind so it allows them to fly quietly, sneaking up on their prey once again. They do have very acute vision, which is adapted for low winter light. They are a diurnal owl. You get long days, you get long nights, you need to hunt in any type of light. So their eyes are made for hunting day and night. Now they do have very nomadic behavior. Snowy owls roam huge distances searching for food. They're never tied to one place. Most birds of prey, most owls, they're very territorial. Not the snowy. No, he's got a huge space that he can go to. So yeah, they're very nomadic. So a few of the other residents of Santa's home include the lynx. The lynx has very thick fur, very large paws, and they're very silent forest hunters. Yeah, they sneak up on their prey like most of the cat family does. So the lynx is in the feline family. Up there you'll also find the brown bear. They usually hibernate in winter dens, though. You'll see them more out during the summertime. And of course, up in Santa's home in Lapland, you do get elk and moose. Their long legs are built for the deep snow. They also have very large cupped hooves that actually allows them to stay higher up in the snowpack, so they don't sink down as deep. And a ptarmigan. I actually have seen these guys when I went out to Washington State. I saw them in Glacier National Park, I believe it was. Yeah, I saw ptarmigans there. So the ptarmigan is a bird. They have feathered feet and seasonal plumage. When I saw them, it was in the fall, and they were just starting to change from the brown to the white. So they're kind of splotchy white on them. It was kind of neat to see them. Lemmings and voles, they're up there too. They survive winter in subnivean tunnels between the snow and the ground. So they're hiding underneath the snow, or within the snow, I should say. Every species has evolved to conserve heat, move efficiently, and survive long stretches of darkness. So all of these species that I mentioned, they're actually, they've evolved to conserve heat, move efficiently, and survive long stretches of darkness. They are built for this harsh climate. For several weeks each winter, the sun never rises above the horizon. It's what is known as polar night. So several weeks each winter, you get total darkness, no daytime at all, 24 hours a day of darkness. Yeah, you may wonder, how do the animals cope during this time? Well, first of all, they have a lowered metabolism during this time. Many species actually will conserve their energy so that they don't need to hunt as much. Because if they're a daytime species or a low light species, it's not easy to find food in the dark, especially the really dark nights. So yeah, they will actually conserve energy so that they don't need to hunt as much. They do have excellent low light vision, a lot of them. They have dependence on smell and hearing. A lot of them have very good sense of smell and great hearing. I was talking about some of the animals like the snowy owl, but also the Arctic fox. They can hear sounds long distance away. Very acute hearing. Pinpoint animals under the snow. And some of them, as I was mentioning, they do have winter food strategies, like the reindeer cratering for the lichen, the fox hunting under the snow, the moose browse tree shoots, and wolverines scavenge during these times. Meanwhile, the predators and prey continue this dance of survival in the world lit only by moonlight, starlight, and maybe the northern lights giving them a little light. But yeah, it's tough out there during these couple of weeks where there's no light. So as we walk back towards Santa's home in Rovaniemi, you start to realize something. Lapland isn't magical because of Santa living there. Santa lives there because it's magical. Yeah, it's a place where animals survive in temperatures of 40 below zero Fahrenheit. The sky shimmers green and purple with the northern lights. The reindeer wander freely through the forest in huge herds. And old traditions still thrive amongst the local people. It's the perfect intersection of nature, culture, and imagination. So I'd like to thank you for wandering with me through Santa's winter home of Lapland. I hope you enjoyed exploring the wildlife and the incredible adaptations that make life possible in such an extreme environment. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to follow The Nature Wanderer, and don't forget to check out The Forest Connection for more ways to reconnect with nature. And if you'd like to support the podcast, go to the show notes and check out the links for my Ko-Fi page or my online store. And I do have a fairly new Amazon storefront where part of your proceeds, part of the items that you buy from Amazon, well, part of that proceeds go towards the podcast. So check those out. And if you like to journal your wanderings through nature, don't forget that I do have journals available. I'll leave the link to those in the show notes as well. And I will have a link to the live feed of Santa's home on YouTube. I'll put that in the show notes as well. Until next time, keep exploring the nature around you. Hey there, fellow nature wanderers. If you're like me, you love spending time outdoors, breathing in that fresh air and connecting with the natural world. But at home, have you ever thought about what's in the products you use every single day? That's why I'm excited to share Apple Valley Natural Soap with you. Their handcrafted all-natural soaps are made with organic ingredients, essential oils, and no harsh chemicals. Awesome! So they're not only great for your skin, but they're safe for the planet. And they don't just stop at soap. Apple Valley Natural Soap also carries a full line of natural skincare products, including shampoos, body butters, facial bars, and more. All designed to nourish your skin without synthetic ingredients. You can't beat that. That's just awesome. Whether you're hiking in the woods or just winding down after a long day, their products bring a little bit of nature right into your home. And the best part? By supporting Apple Valley Natural Soap through The Nature Wanderer, you're also supporting this podcast. Just head to the show notes and click on the link for Apple Valley Natural Soap. So go ahead, treat yourself and the environment to something better. Your skin and Mother Nature will thank you. Hello, friends. I hope you're out wandering through nature, exploring the natural world around you. Do you enjoy writing about your wanderings? Nature journaling is an awesome, fun way to remember all the adventures you have taken and how you felt during those journeys. If you're looking for some beautiful journals to keep track of all your wanderings, I have several available on Amazon, including some guided journals for children. Start your journey in journaling by clicking on the link in the show notes. Keep exploring the nature around you and keep journaling all your wanderings.